Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and there's a few more people that are probably join us. So this is set up in a webinar format because we're going to be recording it and have it available on the website. So I'm going to do a presentation for 10 minutes or so, and then we'll open up for questions. But right now I can't see you. You can see me, but I can't see you. You can put questions in the Q&A if you want, but after I get done, we'll just open up for questions and I can call on you so you can speak your question. But if you want to put in writing in the Q&A, that's fine too. So whatever works for you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, which has a little PowerPoint. So you've probably already seen this on our website, the announcement of our teacher training program. And just want to talk about what we're hoping to do in the program. So what are the outcomes if you come to the training? What will you hopefully end up with at the end of the 6 months? So first of all, you'll learn how to be teaching and training, and you'll have the skills, knowledge, lots of resources, and you will hopefully be able to go out and train and be able to do experiential trainings, which is what we particularly like to do. If you've been to our trainings, you know we do role plays, we do demonstrations, we have fish bowls where people can be in the middle of the group and get coaching, and we have some fun exercises. So we'll be talking and learning about how to teach them, how to create new ones. You'll have an increased awareness of your own self, because part of what we'll be doing is incorporating some of the work we do in our self-reflection for conflict professionals program, because we think that's also very useful for teachers. So you become more aware of yourself and also of diverse participants and how you can meet everyone's needs. You'll develop your own personal teaching style. So we all are different people and we're going to teach differently. So we're not trying to create, robots that are going to teach all the same way. It's really just like we do in our trainings. We ask you to take in what you're learning and adapt it for yourself and create your own way of doing it. We hope to create a community of teachers, of all the people that are participants in the program, as well as the three of us that are teaching it, so that we'll have a broader community. People can go out and teach others our model or use what you've learned to teach other things. You'll hone your understanding of the understanding-based model, the conflict skills there, because that's part of what we'll be using for the content of the program and what you'll be practicing when you're teaching. And also just to hone your ability to impart both that model or other types of conflict resolution skills to other people. And you'll have the ability to teach in whatever context inspires you. So we're not trying to create teachers that are just be teaching in our program, in our model. We're really trying to teach a style of teaching and hope you will take it and use it in wherever you want to be teaching. And hopefully we'll have fun. I think our trainings are fun, and we hope this one will be too. So this gives you an idea of some of the topics we'll be covering. We have set it up so that we have 6 online sessions and 2 in-person 3-day sessions. And so we're trying to break up some of the content between what we can teach online and what things we actually want to be in person with you, particularly when we're doing the practicums and trying things out and looking at group dynamics. Quite a bit of that we want to have in person, because you're going to be hopefully teaching in person sometimes. Obviously we've been teaching more online, but we want you to have the ability to do both. So we do have the in-person sessions, and then we'll have 3-hour online sessions that will be covering some of the more content-laden topics, such as learning about how adults learn, what kind of learning styles they have. Those are things we could cover online. And then you'll see there's other topics that we'll be covering. So what is it we'll be asking from you? So one is that we would like you to commit to attending all of the sessions. We did get an inquiry about someone who was wondering about whether they could do it all online, and that's really not going to be possible because we think it's really important to have the in-person sessions. So we do want you to be there for all of those sessions. There'll be important information in each one. It may be, maybe you'll miss an online 3-hour one because something has happened and you just can't make it, or someone's having some family event that you have to go to. So it's possible that some people might miss one of the online. We hope not, but that's not a huge problem. It would be a problem if you can't come to the in-person ones. Then wait till maybe we do it again. This is the first time we're doing this extensive teacher training program. So we don't know whether we'll be doing it again. We hope to, but we don't know at this point. Then in between the sessions, there'll be homework, there'll be readings we will give you, there'll be preparation for example, a presentation you might be giving. We'll also be having a group project where you'll be working with other participants. So that will be some time to put that together, not necessarily between every session, but there'll be some time for that during the course of the 6 months. And then most of all is we want you to be very engaged in this, to see it as something that's an important part of your life and that you're going to be all in on it. So one of the questions we got was, who's the ideal candidate? So I'm going to tell you a story about who the ideal candidate is, because when I started teaching with the center, which was in 2004, I had been mediating for a number of years. I had started in collaborative practice, and I was in a collaborative study group, and we asked Gary and Jack, the two founders of the center, to come and meet with our study group for a day, just to kind of give us a better understanding of how collaborative practice works, because it was quite new then. And at the end of the day, Gary and Jack said, one of you ought to be teaching this. And then the next day was the launch of our local group that Gary and Jack came to. And I was one of the founders of the group, so I gave a talk. And afterwards, Jack came up to me, you should really be teaching. And I'm like, no, I really don't want to be teaching. I don't really like that much to be, sitting and, standing in front of a group. I'm more introverted. I don't think I can do this. I'm like, no. And so it wasn't something that I thought I could do, or even necessarily that I wanted to do. So I sort of like, reluctantly became a teacher. And I would say for the first number of years, I continued to feel like, maybe that's really, I'm not good enough, a lot of imposter syndrome. So my feeling is the ideal candidate is someone who's really drawn to wanting to pass on the understanding-based model to other people, or who wants to learn how to teach something that you feel very inspired for. Because that's what kept me going all this time being a teacher, is I feel so inspired by the content of what I'm teaching, and it's driven me to learn to be a better teacher. So that's really the ideal candidate, someone that wants to be able to pass on what they know and feel inspired by, and also learn from the teaching, learn from the students that you're going to have. So there isn't some particular candidate we're looking for. It's really more, what are you wanting to bring to it? Okay, so the dates, which is on the website, but I'll just repeat them here. We're going to be meeting once a month online, except for the months when we have our 3-day in-person sessions. So we're starting in March, skipping April because that's when we have an in-person, and then recommencing in May, going through the summer. And you can see in the summer, we have Wednesdays instead of Fridays, because some people like to take long weekends. So we made the summer sessions be in the middle of the work week, and then again in October. And then our in-person dates, April 7th through April 10th, which will be on the West Coast, and then Tuesday the 27th through Friday the 30th on the East Coast. This gives you a little picture of what places we're going to be training. In April on the West Coast is the Walston Wright Retreat Center. We did a training there a few years ago. It's a quite lovely place, 3 stories, mostly shared rooms. Lovely grounds where you can walk around and get out when you're not in session, with a nice room to stay in. And there will be meals at both of the locations. And the Ralston White is about, probably an hour and a half drive from the airports, either SFO, San Francisco Airport, or Oakland, just depending on what the traffic is. Okay, and the other location is Mercy by the Sea in Connecticut, fairly close to some airports, an hour and 25 minutes or maybe a little bit longer to LaGuardia. I've never been there, so I can't tell you much about it, except it looks lovely from looking at the website, right by the by some water. So I think it'll be a nice location. So cost. So we have a total estimated cost. Some of it is for paying for the teachers and for all the administrative work that goes into it, and some materials. It's good. The average cost per participant, assuming we have 24 participants, is about $2,500. And then there'll be travel costs for each participant, depending on where you're coming from. So if you're on the West Coast, you'll travel East Coast, vice versa. If you're in the middle or somewhere outside of the United States, you'll be traveling from wherever you're coming from. That may be, depending on how far away you're coming, it might be more. We're having a fundraising campaign. We don't know how much that we'll be able to raise from that. Our hope would be that we can have a broad range of participants and future teachers, so that no one would be limited by funds from coming to the training if it's something that we really, that they really want to come to and they're chosen as part of the cohort. So we can't tell you for certain what the final cost would be, but this would give you some picture of it, depending on what the fundraising is. I mean, our hope is that this is something that will be taken up by our broader community as a need that we all want to contribute to. So the timeline is your applications are due by December 1st. If you go to the website on the teacher training, you'll see the application, ask you for contact information, a 3-minute video about why you want to participate. Don't sweat over this. You don't have to have high production values. It can be done with your phone. It's just so that we get to actually feel more connected to you than we would if we just saw you on a piece of paper. A resume or CV that just gives us an idea of your background, and then information about what your prior experience was with our model. Have you taken our trainings? Do you know about it? Have you used it? Or other kinds of ADR, anything that you've done along those lines. We'll be notifying people in early January if they've been chosen to be in the program, and hopefully by then we'll have a much better picture of what we've been able to do with fundraising. So that's it for the slideshow. So now if you just see if there's any questions. So there's one question in the chat that says she's read and learned so much from Gary's book, Inside Out, forms in my transformative conflict resolution practice and restorative justice facilitation. I'm wondering what the source material might be for the training. Well, that will certainly be one of them, and we'll be putting together quite a bit of materials. We're just in the process still of creating the curriculum, but there will definitely be quite a bit of readings to do. So any other questions? And if you have a question, just want to raise your hand, I can. Okay, Caitlin. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Oh, I see. Can you hear?
I can hear you.
Oh, good. Okay. I can't tell if I'm yelling or not. I'm just so excited about this, Catherine. I have been wanting you guys to do this for 2 years. So oh my God, I'm hearing an echo. You're hearing me though.
Yes, I'm hearing you. I
Okay.
didn't hear an echo.
I'll just turn that off. My idea and hope is that I could teach this in prisons and for post-incarcerated population. And I just wanted to see if that's in the general, it sounds very flexible, the ways that you guys are imagining that the teacher training would translate and that we can sort of make it our own. I just wanted to confirm that that might be an opportunity.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, our hope is that what we're really teaching people is how to teach and how to adapt what the content of understand-based model to whatever context you're going to teach in. So it might be in prison, it might be in schools, it might be in a company, in a nonprofit. So I think it's applicable to however you want to bring this information to the world. And it might even be that you are going to teach in some way other than the understanding-based model. So you'll just be learning some teaching skills. So absolutely bring it to the prison.
Okay, thank you. And so that ties in with my question part B, which was there a certain number of hours of mediation experience within the understanding-based model that would be required before doing this program?
No.
Okay.
Simple question or simple answer, no.
Thank you so much.
All right, and I have a question here that says, will we have access to and permission to use the training materials for our own trainings? And the answer to that is simple, yes, you will. Another question, I presume the on-site training sessions is assuming that the pandemic continues to subside. Any thoughts if that does not happen? Yes, we're hoping beyond hope that the pandemic will subside. And if it doesn't by the first session April, my guess is what we'll do is that we'll figure out a new date when hopefully we will be able to be in person. We would probably still start up with some of the online sessions and then move the first in-person probably a few months out and hope for the best. Another question is, might there be scholarship for those of us working with communities of need? And yes, that is what we're hoping. That's why we're doing the fundraising to try and gather some funds for scholarships. And also it may be that we would have asked for there to be different contributions from the participants themselves, so that if there are participants that could pay more than the average, that they could do that, and that will help to make sure that the program is accessible to everyone. So any other questions? Is the cost that we presented the maximum? Probably it would be the maximum that we would charge. We may again ask people to pay more than that if they're able, but that would be the maximum that we would be requiring some to pay. Well, I hope that you will apply to our program. We really are hoping to have a very robust group and cohort that will have fun together and learn together and be able to go out and teach the understanding-based model. So thank all of you for coming to the information session today.